I'm just going to start the podcast this way, which is,
okay,
this is a spoiler cast. You can't really talk about this game
Oh.
without spoiling. I will take issue with people being like, you shouldn't know anything going into this game. And so I'm going to say what I wish somebody had told me, because I think it would have really helped with my mindset while playing this game, which is the purpose of this game is exploration. There is not quote unquote objectives. So there's things that you can do. It is totally optional, but the whole point of the game is space exploration and like uncovering stuff because you're interested. So if you haven't played this game yet, which is Outer Wilds, I don't think I said that yet, but it'll be the episode title.
It's
So
the
people,
episode name. It's fine.
it is something that you don't want spoiled. At the same time, do go in with the right mindset of like exploration being the point. And I wish somebody would have told me that.
Interesting. I'm like reading your face right now, and I'm trying to decide how
No,
this conversation's gonna go.
No, I think it's gonna go well. Like I do, not to spoil my thoughts, but I ended up really loving it. It's just that would have helped my mindset. If you haven't played the game, go play it. Go play it with the right mindset. Don't kind of have it be spoiled. I will say if you get stuck at a certain spot, there are a bunch of really good Reddit threads actually that give hints without spoiling. And I found that to be pretty helpful multiple times.
Me
so.
too. I'm Bridget.
And I'm Maddie. Welcome to Baddy Breakdowns, where we hang out, have fun, and play games all the way to the end. Today, we're going to talk about Outer Wilds. We will give you the breakdown from its creation to its critical reception back on our regular programming. We haven't done this in a while, but I like it. Then we'll take you on a deep dive into the game as we share our own experiences and opinions while playing it. We'll close it with if we recommend it, who we'd recommend it to, and last but not least, our personal rating. With that, let's lift off.
Aw, that's cute. Yeah, I like that one.
That's a good one. All right, game description. Right. Bridget.
Yeah, so I pulled the description off of Steam, and we'll see if I want to add anything to it. Named Game of the Year 2019 by Giant Bomb, Polygon, Eurogamer, and The Guardian, Outer Wilds is a critically acclaimed and award-winning open-world mystery about a solar system trapped in an endless time loop.
Okay.
So they jam-pack as many adjectives as you can possibly jam-pack into one sentence. But I do feel like they get to the core of it. Like, it really is about this time loop. And to the point of your earlier statement, Maddie, it really focuses on that open world exploration and trying to uncover that mystery in space. And I think that is probably about as unspoilery as this description can get while still being accurate. So I think that's right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Did you do how it's made today?
I did.
I forgot to check with you.
Yeah, I did. No. That's why I
great.
texted you. I was watching the No Clip documentary. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
All right. I'm actually really excited because the No Clip documentary ended up like it made me appreciate the game even more. And so, like I said, spoilers abound. If you're interested in the conceit of this game, which is like set in the solar system, please go play it and then come back to this episode, because from now on it's going to be like no return territory.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was created by the small studio Mobius, and it's hard for me to say that because Morbius is a thing, and I keep wanting to say Morbius, and it's not. It's Mobius. And it actually originally started as a student project. It was Alex Beecham's master thesis for his like game development degree for UCLA.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, and so his whole thing was it actually came from a bunch of different pieces of his game development classes. So the first planet that he made was actually the brittle hollow concept, where the point of the game was, hey, like do something that like changes over time or something like that. And then he was like created a planet that like got broken apart by asteroids. And it wasn't what it is today, but that was like the original conceit of it. And then in another one, it was like do something with like relativity, and so, or like something with like physics or something like that. I can't remember the exact class, but he made a little, it wasn't even a game. It was just a scene of you roasting a marshmallow while the sun explodes in front of you. So there was like the gameplay aspect of like putting a marshmallow on a stick, roasting it at a campfire while like a sun explodes, like, and you watch it explode and like come swallow you. So those were kind of like the original things. And then he also had made a rocket ship like launching. And so he wanted to do something with all of those elements and then put it into his like master's thesis, and that created the first version of this game, which was a very, very basic version of what it was today. But he entered it into a bunch of like student competitions, and it won like a ton of these competitions. And so after it got, you know, it won all of those awards for like student games, it got fully funded by Annapurna. And like Annapurna wanted him to make it a full game, and then a couple of his classmates had founded Mobius and wanted him to come make it at Mobius. And so it's like a bunch of UCLA people came together. And then weirdly, Mobius is funded also by the Heroes actor, like one of the actors from the show Heroes, which is funny. Like he wanted, he was just like interested in video games and like
I love this.
And had reached out to the UCLA video game like development department, and one of the professors pointed them to Mobius. And so he was like, also he's like the executive producer of that studio, which was really funny. Anyways,
you know, can we pause for a hot second? Because once again, I am feeling very bad about myself. How amazing a college student going out and just being like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then you end up with a gem like this that so many people love. Like, that's so cool.
It's so super cool. It's super cool. So I thought that was really super interesting. And then Alex really wanted to, like, kind of the whole point of this game is like breaking normal game development rules where you're like developing on a plane and you're actually developing around a sphere. Like everything is based on spheres. And he really wanted it to be a world that changed over time, not a static world. That was really important. As they started building up this like really small studio, really small, Wesley had seen the game, was like, why is this game winning all of these awards? And he saw the game and he was like, it kind of looks like shit. I could make it look better. And he like applied to be the art director. Which I thought was really funny because Wesley was like, I really want to work on this game and make it look better because I'm going to be able to make it look better. He's like, it looks like shit.
Everyone needs somebody to do that for them. That's amazing.
Right? Yeah. He's like, this is a good concept, but it looks terrible and I'm going to make it better. So he did. And he kind of, when he joined, he started building out the environments for all of the different planets because at the beginning it was really like concepts. So originally, like Brittle Hollow was just a planet that was getting broken apart by asteroids, and they didn't really have anything else more than that. Giant's Deep was just a gas giant like Jupiter. They didn't have any like super like thought out details with it. And then so he came in and he wanted to make each planet based off of really inspired by national parks. So like,
oh, I thought you were going to tell me like Inner Fears. Because I would have believed that if you would have said that, but national parks, okay.
Yeah, national
Sure.
parks. And so Timber Hearth was based off of Yellowstone, Sequoia National Park, and Mount Rainier National Park, which is why there's
That
like
makes
some
sense.
of the Pacific Northwest stuff on it. And then Brittle Hollow was based off of Iceland, and then Giant's Deep wasn't really like a national park per se, but was like based off the ocean. And then it was funny because he's like, Dark Bramble is just your least favorite houseplant. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, fair. You know what? Fair.
Yeah. And then the other interesting part is as they were building each individual planet, which has each of their own like environments and the way gravity works and the way that the planet changes, Brittle Hollow was actually the hardest planet for them to make, the one that gets broken up, because it has the black hole at the center. Yeah. And so it was just like super challenging to make it all levels. Like it was game development on hard mode is how they were describing it.
I believe that. Yeah.
And so out of all of the planets, that one was the hardest that they said to develop because of the way that like the black hole was working, and then it was breaking apart and all of the different forces of gravity around it. And this is where I want to highlight the two technical directors, Logan Verhoff and Jeffrey Yu. And they were the only two people working on the whole like physics engine of the game. It was just two of them. Jeffrey Yu was actually a aerospace engineer. And then
amazing.
Yeah.
I love that for him.
So they did the math, because the thing that was super important that in the No Clip documentary, Logan was like, it was very important for the physics to be correct for this game. So
is it actually correct as to like if you were on a planet with that gravity force? Like is that
Yes. So the physics of the game are all correct, and it was really important for it to be. And so they did the math for all of like the black hole, the lighting, the orbiting, like all of the physics are correct, which is
You're telling
crazy.
me in real life I can actually slingshot a black hole then? Because that is amazing.
So you can. It's actually based off of real theoretical physics. Obviously, we don't know what like the realities of it would be, but yes, theoretically,
amazing.
it's all correct.
I love it.
And it's not based off of ours necessarily. It's just that the physics are correct based on like the sun that they built and the planets that they built. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like
I know what you're saying.
It's like the physics of the universe are correct.
Yeah, I like that. That's really fun. I would have assumed that they would have had to futz with it to make it more, like, I don't know, easy to use. But now that I say that, we'll get into that later. But that is really interesting that they made it just all accurate. I kind of like it. That's cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And then the other thing that Logan and Jeffrey talked about that was pretty complex technically is that the full game has to run even if you aren't on that planet.
Yeah, I had wondered about that. I was like, how are they doing this?
Because everything has to, so the whole thing has to run, and then they have to fully render. They potentially have to fully render everything even if you aren't there. So for example, if you leave your ship on a planet and your scout on a different planet, and then you're on this planet, it has to be able to do the things in each of those. So it has to fully render each of those planets so that if you take a photo, you're seeing the actual photo. If your ship gets sucked up by like the Ember Twins, right? Like the sand column or whatever, like your ship has to get taken up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's super interesting that, or they said that was like a really technically complex thing, and that if you wanted, you could try to break it by doing all of the different things, and they wanted to make it an achievement. So like worst case scenario, you leave your ship on one planet, a scout on another, and then you go to another planet. Like that's like the worst case scenario for the game engine, just because then it's fully rendering three separate planets. And they wanted to make an achievement, but then Annapurna was like, no, you can't have an achievement to crash the game. Like that doesn't, that's not good.
Honestly, they sound like real game developers. Yeah. Like, you know, almost every developer is thinking of the stupid, shitty achievements that are so fucking funny.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really funny that Logan and Jeffrey were like really into this idea of this achievement. This like secret achievement.
I wish they would have done it.
Yeah, and Annapurna was like, no, you can't do that. And then the other thing that was super interesting that was like a bit of like weird technical development that they said worked, but it took them a while to get to it working that way is for everything to work, you had to be the center of the physics in a way. And so actually when you jump, your character is not jumping. The world is moving underneath you.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And that's how they got everything to work. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Which like kind of breaks my brain, but I just thought that was a really interesting.
In my head, I'm like, okay, maybe I wouldn't want to develop a game in space. That just sounds like maybe not the thing to do.
Oh, it looked super horrifying. Technically challenging. Because like as an example, like they had like an over-the-shoulder thing with Logan. They were like, yeah, so I have to twist it this way if I want to work on this specific piece, but then my left and right are opposite. Like on the cursor, and it's just, so it was just like this really weird like mind.
Other games have things that can happen to you to mix up your left and rights, and whenever that happens to me, I'm always so angry, and I cannot imagine actually
like
doing
that to game
myself.
Development. Yeah.
God.
So I thought that was really, really interesting and really fun to learn about.
I appreciate the game more thinking about those pieces. That's crazy.
So the other piece that I really thought was interesting is they kind of had the game developed before the story in a way. So the original conceit of the story is they wanted the whole point that Alex is driving home is you want to explore for your own curiosity. And that was really it. So they didn't really have like all of the story beats. It was kind of just like you want to explore. And then when it got funded by Annapurna and they were making it this bigger game, he brought on his sister Kelsey to do all of like the Naomi story and all of that stuff to add that extra element of like, okay, so you want to go like uncover more of the story through this ancient civilization. And that's when the rest of it started coming together as well. Yeah. So it was like, it was interesting to me to read about how it wasn't like they did the story first and then like mapped it out from there. It was, they had the planets, they had the game, and they had the idea of the story of like exploration, but they didn't have the pieces of it.
It honestly, that almost breaks my brain more than the other bits. And I think as we start talking about it, I want to bring that back up because I felt like they merged things. Like, it felt very tied together to me. Like, very tied together. No,
it was. Well, that's, I mean, they did bring his sister on to do all of the story. Like, she pieced all of the story. She did all the story for the planets and all of these things. And it was really interesting because... Did
they have all of the planet mechanics done? They were like, this one's gonna... Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
So it wasn't like they had the ruins yet, but they had the like planets mapped out and like what they wanted the planets to be. Like they had the Ember Twins and they had the Brittle Hollow and they had they had all of those. And they had like a base story, but they didn't have the full like Naomi story mapped out. And he was like, I knew I wanted to bring my sister in because like growing up, she had been like a big writer and she had really loved that part and he thought she would do really good. And I just thought that was really cute.
So cute.
Like a brother and sister duo for this game. Yeah. And one of the things that she said was really challenging is making the Naomi story connect all together and then in such a short amount of text, really, because if you think about it, there really isn't a ton of text.
No,
and
there is
she
not.
also said that she wanted to make it character driven because like reading about an ancient civilization in aggregate, you don't connect with it, but you connect with characters. And so she was like, it was really challenging for me to get these characters feeling really like full of depth and connecting the story in such a short amount of text.
Yeah. Well, and because you can discover it in any order. So she was also having to tell a story completely non-linearly, which so hard. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the ship log.
Okay.
So originally they only had it with the map mode.
I never even used the map mode.
Me neither. Me neither. They actually
Wild.
only did the rumor mode the last year of game development because as they started doing playtesters, like playtesters just weren't like getting it.
Yeah.
And it was like too hard to follow. And so then they added the rumor mode, which they said was essentially their entire game design story like on a whiteboard. Like literally it was the whiteboard. They were like, why don't we just do the whiteboard?
I mean, it worked.
It worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked. And then the last thing that I will talk about, this is the last thing, is the music. Because I feel like the music is super central to like the way the game feels. Yeah. And the composer is Andrew Prowlow, who is also a UCLA person. So like it was like all UCLA grads that came together to make this game. And he originally just did that initial line, like that one. That was kind of what he had recorded for the original like thesis, because the thesis had the campfire scene. And it was like a banjo on the campfire. And so he had done that for the campfire scene. And then when he started doing the whole score, it really centered around that. And he said that he wanted the track to feel nostalgic and bittersweet and like Americana. Yeah. And I thought he nailed it with like elements of sci-fi. And I was like, colors. Yeah, really, really nailed it. And then the other thing that I thought was really cool and special is that the title track that you hear is actually his original recording from 2012, layered with his final recording 7 years later for the full game. And I was just like,
so sweet.
Isn't that my heartstrings? I know. I just was like, for the music itself to have this like 7-year time jump just feels so fitting for this game.
It does.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got like a little goosebumps. I don't know why. Why does that hit in such a way?
No, honestly, I feel like the music, like I will talk about it more later, but it was probably like it's probably one of my favorite soundtracks of like all time for video games.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is my How It's Made. Highly recommend the No Clip documentary. I love when I see that No Clip has done something on a game that we play, because I just top tier video game documentaries, really good, and very much recommend watching it.
This was a good behind the scenes, Maddie. We haven't had one in a while, so it's nice that we come back to. No, I loved it. Great job.
Thank you. All right, critical reception.
We can get into critical reception. Yeah, so this game did very well. People really, really like this game.
That makes sense.
I wrote down a few of the ratings that you'll see around. So IGN gave it an 8.4, Metacritic 85%, and then Steam is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think I didn't write Google's down, but I think it was like 4.9 out of 5. It was also very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of that, like when I was digging through reviews, I looked in a few different places. I read a couple articles. I just want to give you some context on what a 10 out of 10 Steam game looks like for Steam reviews, because it has 60,000 positive reviews and only 2,000 negative. So
wow.
It is, when you think about the numbers like that on what a 10 out of 10 game is on Steam, that's what we're looking like here. So when I say like, oh, well, people didn't like X or whatever, I'm talking about 2,000 out of the 60,000, right? So just wanted to clear that up a little bit. So I'll start with the negative ones first, because I think I want to end on the positive note. So of the negative, I think the main criticism, which I'd love to talk about more because I have some thoughts on it, was actually just based around the time loop itself. And the interesting thing that I saw was a mixture of people saying that they felt the game was boring and that they felt the game was stressful at the same time, which was wild to me. And what it sounded like was the boring piece is coming from the repetitiveness of the time loop, and the stressful coming from the time loop only having that 22-minute loop and then being stressed about getting the things done, or, oh crap, I made a mistake, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it was this weird combination of people being both bored and stressed at the same time. Which I thought was really interesting. Another one that I saw, which was technically do not recommended, but still said that they enjoyed the game and thought it was good, but I thought I'd call it out before we get too deep into this. But they said that if you are susceptible to depression, then you should probably think pretty heavily about whether or not you actually play this game. They said that for them, it took them like weeks to recover from the feeling of like that loneliness and
existential
from the
crisis.
feeling.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. And they said it was really, really hard for them. And so I thought I would surface it because they did end up giving it a negative review. They were like, even though it was a beautiful game, it just couldn't, like, I wouldn't have played it had I known that I was going to feel like this for weeks after. So I thought I'd mention that a little bit. I will say that I have been depressed before, and I didn't feel like that playing this game, but I get it. Like,
it depends on what triggers you.
It's true, yes, yeah. And so I thought I'd surface up that warning. But there are a couple of those floating around of people just being like, oh my god, it drained me. But for them, that wasn't a positive experience.
That's so interesting because I thought it was so beautiful. Anyways. It's
a different perspective.
It's a different perspective on it. I totally get that perspective.
Yeah. I understood it. I didn't feel that way, but I understood it when I read it. Okay, so into the positive ones. I think you hit it nail on the head, honestly, already, Maddie. Beautiful. People were like, oh my god, this is a beautiful game. Just the package of it is beautiful. They weren't even necessarily talking about the art, but they're talking about how all of it kind of intertwined together. Between the art and the music and all that kind of fun stuff to say, oh my god, wow, what a beautiful game. The other one that I saw come up quite a bit was actually on the purity of the exploration, which I know is kind of your little caveat at the beginning, which I think is kind of interesting. But the kinds of things that they would call out with this exploration being at the heart of everything is that it really was just kind of like, you go figure it out. Like, you need to be self-motivated. You need to be curious. You need to want to go and find these things. And people really liked how simple it was to be able to go and do that and to find and discover things, even like what to do next. Every single thing was an exploration thing and a puzzle and a mystery, and a lot of people really enjoyed that. Did they have purity of exploration in mind during the How It's Made?
The thing that I wanted to add that I thought was really cool is they actually, the way that they built these worlds is that everything that had detail added to the story versus they didn't want you to have to...
Had a payoff.
Yeah, had a payoff. So they didn't want people to, they didn't want to frustrate people and make them like turn over every rock and check behind every tree. So like if you see something, there's something there. So it's never a case of you see something and there isn't anything there. And then if you just see a blank field of rocks, there's nothing there.
Yeah, which is honestly so important to these games that are really just about exploration, because otherwise it does get very exhausting. You're like, well, what's even the point right now? So I like that. I like that. Okay, and then I there were a lot of different things that I considered quoting, but I decided I would just quote one, and I would quote it here at the end, which was, and this was mentioned in different words in so many different reviews, but someone on Steam said, "This is the greatest game that you're not allowed to talk about," because it's so spoiler heavy to talk about it. And I noticed that in the reviews, so many of the reviews were like, I can't say why, 10 out of 10. And that's literally all they are. So I'm excited for us to talk about it today, because it feels like a lot of things on the internet aren't necessarily going in depth unless they're an actual article super spoilery about it. So I'm excited to dig into it. But overall, everyone seemed to be very, very positive towards this game. So I would see it that way. The negatives that I saw were fewer, and a lot of them were more mixed than purely negative. So, yeah.
All right. Shall we dive in?
I
Should we
think
lift off?
we should.
All right.
Yes. Should we lift off? Yes, I would love to lift off, Maddie.
Let's do it. Okay.
Do you want to start? Yeah.
Sure. I'll start my first impressions. So, like I said, the music, like that's the first thing that I wrote is when you open the game, it's just beautiful. Like the music like makes me want to cry. It's just so good.
I mean, I'm a banjo girly, so like, come on.
Yeah. It's just so good. And it really is special. And I really liked the tutorial, like where you wake up and the first things that you do. It felt very wholesome, small town, and it felt just like the perfect introduction to the world that you're in, to have the museum that gives you little hints about what you're about to do, which is super cool. Like it has the Naomi statue, and it has a little bit about that history, and you see an anglerfish for the first time, and I thought that just initial museum was really quite cool and was a good introduction to the world. In the whole tutorial with the kids and how to use all of these things was just really good.
It's cute. Yeah. I felt the same way. I will say what I'll add on to that is, for some reason, and maybe you can help me identify it, or maybe it just is, but the game almost made me feel like I had to take it slow and like steep in the game. Like right when you load up and you start on this tutorial, maybe it is because it feels small town and mixture with that Americana music, but I felt like I needed to take this game slow, like really just like soak in the game as I play it. And I don't know what it was that really made me think that, but it really felt that way. Like I felt like this wasn't a rush, which it's so interesting because then you do end up with that 22-minute loop eventually, right? But starting off, I was like, oh, I think this is a slow game. Like, I think I need to be doing this slowly. And I got that right out the gate. So I think they did a really good job with that. I really, really enjoyed that aspect of it. I think other than that, like you said, the music was really, really, really good. The thing that I would add on with the tutorial, I probably spent like 30 minutes attempting to learn how to fly the freaking spaceship.
Oh.
Because they had like, you know, a little place, land the thing on the geyser. And I am not good at 3D space. If I had to like write a list of my least good like skills, it would be 3D space in just quotes. And so I was like, I want to make sure I can play this game, so I'm going to practice long enough before I can actually like land it. It took me like 40 minutes to get the stupid thing in the geyser, so definitely going to be skill issue notes for this game.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But I really enjoyed the little intro too. I thought it was super cute. I really liked it. And I love how well it set up the loop mechanic, because you run through your day, you get the launch codes for the rocket, right? And then every loop after that, you have those codes, so you don't have to do the loop again. I don't know. I just really liked it. I thought it was very delightful.
I really thought that your ship being the home base kind of, like, I'm glad that they had that. Whereas there were some, like, I hadn't really learned a ton about this game. I had just heard it was really good. And actually, I am kind of sad that it was a little bit, like, overhyped for me. Not overhyped, because I ended up really loving this game. But just, like, my expectations are so high going into it that it was a little disappointing. Like, I wish that it wasn't that high. But I had multiple people tell me this was, like, their favorite game of all time. So it's like really hard when you have that mindset going in and like taking a step back and just like enjoying it. And I agree with you on like, it kind of tells you to take it a little bit slow and do the world at the speed that you want to do. And it's actually funny. The first loop is the only one that's longer. It's actually longer than 22 minutes.
Oh, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, but because you're doing the tutorial and all of that stuff, so they actually made the first loop longer.
Could you imagine everything exploding in the middle of your tutorial? Ooh.
Ooh. That wouldn't be fun at all. Yeah. But it's actually interesting because I actually didn't die because of it exploding for a couple of loops.
Well... That would be easy to do because the first planet they
reasons.
send you is well, how about we like take a step back and we give folks some mechanic pieces because I think they'll be core. We've talked about it a little bit, right? But with the ship as the home base, that's where you'll find most of the like rumor mode and the map modes that Maddie talked about earlier.
And so what it means in practice is it's like when you find something, it'll like pop up a little square and it'll give you a summary of what you found.
Yeah, which is also, it was an interesting mechanic too, because it also gave like exclamation marks if you had started something, but you didn't get all the information for a specific mode. So then you would know like, oh, that's a thing I can go do.
There's more to explore here. Yeah.
Yeah. So like you have that. You always have to grab your spacesuit. I think I died probably like 6 times because I forgot to put on my spacesuit before walking out of the ship.
Oops.
So ship also has spacesuit. And then of course that's how you get from planet to planet. How long did it take you, Maddie, to realize you were in a time loop? Because I actually didn't realize that it was this specific time loop right when we had started. Like, I didn't know it was going to be 22 minutes every single time. Here's this loop. And so I'm curious if you just knew that going in already, or was that like a surprise moment for you?
No, I mean, once you die, you know it's a loop really quickly.
You know well, you kind of do. The first death, they don't exactly tell you. The first death, like, because the first death, I thought, like, I wasn't really sure what had happened. And it wasn't until the second death when I decided to talk to the guy on the stump. And he was like one of the options of talking to him was like, I'm in a time loop. And I was like, I'm in a time loop.
Oh, that's funny. Like because on the Giant's Deep?
No, like the next to your rocket ship.
Oh,
like when you wake up alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the first couple times that I died, probably similar to you, I died for really stupid reasons that were mostly because I couldn't figure out how to fly the ship or move my body in correct ways. And so I didn't get at all to the point of like noticing things were changing with the universe or noticing that like it was this long thing that eventually like stops. It was literally just I died a few times and I thought, oh, maybe they just start you back here. So it actually took me, it was a fun little surprise for me that it was a big time loop game.
I think it wasn't as much of a surprise for me because when I woke up, I was like, okay, it's like a time loop game. You know what I mean?
Apparently, I'm just an idiot.
No, you're not an idiot. I don't know. For me, that just didn't that did not surprise me. What more was surprising or like when it's actually funny, I didn't notice the ship logs until like 10 in. And so I was getting super confused and I was like, I'm so confused because I was just like exploring and like hanging out and like doing different things and then I would die or something would explode and I was like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna do it again. And I was kind of lost and like not really knowing like where to go next. And then DK was like, check your ship log. And I was like, oh, there's a ship log. And then I went and read it, which is dumb. It's like right in front of you when you enter the ship, but like I just didn't check it.
Yeah, I feel like without the ship log, I would have died, probably. Like, I don't think I would have had any fun without the ship log.
It wasn't that long. It was just more like I think it was like the first 6 loops or something. Yeah.
The first 6 loops.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk at all about maybe some of the beginning story seeds that we get? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, I can tell you like where I went first. So my first stop was Adelrock, which was the moon.
Right, yeah.
Not the quantum moon, obviously, but like the moon that is
obviously.
Obviously. But the moon that is orbiting Timberhearth, and that's where you meet the guy that whistles and like you start to get a understanding of all of that's where you get like a stethoscope type tutorial. Not tutorial necessarily, but he's like, hey, you can listen to everyone's instruments playing. Yeah. And then that's where you get the rundown of all of the different explorers from your planet that are out there, which I thought was a really nice way to like connect each of the planets because the thing that they which actually like the No Clip documentary made me appreciate the game more, but it was like they purposefully had multiple ways for you to explore. Like, if the Naomi stuff was interesting to you, you could just go after the ruins, or you could go try to find the people, right? Because that's like your next option is like, oh, I want to go see like what all of these other people from my home planet are doing on all of these different planets.
Yeah, which is actually how I started playing. So like that's what I was trying to do first, was find all the little people.
Yeah.
And I didn't try to get into the Naomi stuff until I had, I think, found not a lot, but like a reasonable chunk where I kind of understood what was happening.
Yeah.
I like that they did that. That's sweet. I never thought about that.
Yeah. So it's like whichever one interests you most, like go after it.
Yeah. So I went there first too. Mm-hmm. And then I think when you're talking to him, he gives you like some additional information, like, hey, one of our buddies is over on Giant's Deep. And then I think we had some other information about the Brittle Hollow as well at the time, although I don't remember exactly what it was. And Giant's Deep freaked me out because I tried to do that first, but then it's all tornado-y, all water, all tornado-y, and it freaked me out. So I was like, I'm gonna try Brittle Hollow. I'll just do that part first.
Oh, interesting. Brittle Hollow is what you ended up doing first.
I ended up doing Brittle Hollow first, and it was the worst decision I've ever made in my entire life. And so begins. I haven't actually expressed to you, Maddie, if I like this game or didn't like this game. And so hopefully you can surmise by the time we get to the end of it. But this is where I started getting mixed.
Yeah.
I think. So what did you do first?
I did Giant's Deep first. So
you did do Giant's Deep.
I went there first, and I thought after Adel Rock, obviously, because I started, he kind of points you that direction, and so I had gone there and found the person that was on there, and I thought the cyclones were like quite cool and like striking and like interesting, and like really like visually cool too, just like the concept of it. And then like the first time you get spun up in a cyclone and you go up into space and then fall back down. And also it's a good introduction to the mystery, because he's also in the time loop, aware, because he had found another statue. So when he's the first person that you talk to, it's like, okay, cool, like there's someone who's in the same thing as me. But that was, instead of you finding that later, that was the first thing that I had really found.
I want so bad to understand how that framed the game for you, because he was the last one that I found.
Oh.
The very last one. And so, not like on purpose, I honestly at some point just forgot he was there. And I had a really hard time maneuvering on that planet because everything got lifted. I did get better at it, and I could get in and out of it pretty easily eventually. But at the beginning, I couldn't maneuver it very well. And I hadn't realized one of the other mechanics that you'll find through the game is they had like gravity portal things that like if you get close to certain objects, you like stay there. Like the gravity is different.
So and they had the cyclone things where you can stand on the platform. And then prevent you from...
Yeah. And so what happened, I think, the first time that I went to that planet is my ship got taken with the Fushi flying away thing. And then it was far away because it wasn't on anything because I didn't realize where it was supposed to be. And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to avoid this planet for now because I don't really understand how it works. And Brittle Hollow, at first glance, feels like a normal planet because you just land on it. Like, it's just a normal... planet. Like, I'm just gonna land on it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I ended up starting there. I feel like your experience with Giant's Deep probably would have been nicer if I had stuck it out, but I did not.
Yeah, the other quality of life thing that I found with this guy is he unlocks the ability to meditate until the next time loop.
Yes! And that's why I'm like, I think your quality of life would be better, because I was trying to, because I'm doing the Brittle Hollow planet first, hopefully y'all have played this game at this point because we're so far into it, but you know, you get sucked into the black hole, right? Like constantly. I got constantly sucked into this black hole, but I didn't have meditate yet, and I didn't realize that there was a white hole station on the other side for like a while.
Oh,
and so literally there were so many attempts. It felt like so many. Maybe it was a more realistic number, but it felt like so many attempts where I literally couldn't even kill myself, and I didn't understand what was going on. I was like, do I have to like swim back in this like no gravity space to my ship. I tried that probably 4 times. That didn't work. And then every other time that I got sucked through there until I figured out how some of this stuff worked was I had to just force kill myself. I would just like turn on the power, wait until I died. Okay. And that took forever just so that I could restart the loop that I was trying to do. And I think the meditate stuff, once I got it, was amazing.
Yeah.
But I totally missed it. And it was hard at the beginning without meditate.
That's
like
hard.
it was hard. Yeah.
That's hard.
Yeah.
I will say that I didn't unlock it at that very first conversation because you have to select the dialogue box.
Yeah, twice.
But I got it pretty, like... the way that I had tried to approach it at first was, like, I'm just gonna fly around to each planet, and then I was like, well, this is I think gonna make it too confusing for me, so I wanted to stick with one and try to do as much on a planet as possible before moving to the next one. And so with that first one, like, I was trying to do all of the different islands and find all of the stuff on Giant's Deep, and so then towards the end of that journey, I went back to talk to him, and that's when I unlocked it. So
I see.
I did have a period of time where I didn't have that, and it was kind of frustrating because, like, you would get stuck somewhere. Like, I got stuck in space with, like, the cyclone once, and I was just floating there, and I was like, this fucking sucks, and I hate this. But after I got that, it was a huge quality of life thing.
Yeah, I'm curious. So when I went to Brito Hollow first, the thing that I ended up, so we haven't talked about the translation piece, I guess, yet. Yeah. So what I started finding on that planet was a ton of translation pieces in different places under the surface, and then above it. And the way that it works is you have a cute little swirl with like branching swirl conversation. And then you hold up your little translator and get the text translated to you. I love how beautiful they made it. How in the world do you make like a dialogue ruin script thing with like these beautiful little swirls? I don't know. I really loved
cool.
that. Yeah. And the main like way that you garner information about this old past civilization is some walls have just like writing on them or signs or whatever. Sometimes you can find scrolls that are like swirly triangle shaped, and then there's usually a hole that you can shove them into. Yeah, and then little plates, and the plates you can pick
like
up
cylindrical.
Yeah, like they're little plates with like a symbol on them, and you can either put them in, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a
pit.
A pit soup. It's like a
a projection pool.
Projection pool. There. Thank you. Oh my god, so good. A projection pool where you can kind of see like the plates reference different locations. And so the projection pool will show you what's happening in that location. And then you can also use those on similarly like on walls to project more text related to that location. So those are, I think, the primary ways that you get story about the old civilization, because most of the characters from your home planet that you find don't really have a lot of information for you. I think like one did kind of, but most of them had like, it was just more flavor, kind of fun finding them information and like mechanic differences. And then they were, of course,
you didn't
like,
mention the like
points.
Floating cylindrical things too, where you would find like the floating cylindrical, and it would like unlock as you like aim it at each cylinder, kind of, and unlock.
No, you're totally right. I forgot about those.
But it was really cool. I loved how they did that, and the language was really cool the way they did it, because you have a swirl and it's one person talking, and then there's like a branching swirl that can be another person talking. And I think it was kind of cool that it conveyed like almost like the conversations happening non-linearly almost. It was really interesting, and it reminded me of the movie Arrival a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
And like how the alien species in Arrival like didn't think linearly, and so like conveying that visually was really interesting, and I thought they tried to do something similar, or it reminded me of that. And maybe they weren't purposefully doing that, but like you could follow this branch and then follow this branch, and it's kind of all coming into one whole conversation, not like linearly like thinking about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of breaks your brain a little bit, but
it does, but it was still really pleasant to experience.
No, it was. Yeah. It was really cool. Also, just like a really quick little like detail. Did you notice that the kids' writing was messier?
Yes! I loved that so much. What a cute detail. I loved it. Yes.
Yeah. Although really sad because when you find like the kids' writing, there's like a bunch of like dead kid bodies.
It's true. That's true. I mean, the whole game has kind of that tone, right? Like it's very clear while you're exploring that everyone else is just dead. Like all this Nomai or Naomi, however you say it, those people seem to be dead. And so I had a couple hypotheses. Let's talk hypotheses of the story.
It also was clear to me that they all had died at the same time. That wasn't clear to you?
Did they all? I mean, I guess you're kind of right. They're usually in like action
scene
poses.
I would run into, it was like they all just dropped dead.
Okay, you know what? That's fair. I think in my head, okay, I'm going to take a step back here because, so for the main plot, the thing that you eventually start to uncover is that there's this old race of people, right? And during this time loop, you have at the very beginning stared into this goat head. And the goat head, every time you die, it replays every single thing that you have seen, which was also such a cute feature. Loved that. And so at the beginning of each time loop, it's making it very clear that you are remembering stuff, and you're remembering it because of this weird goat head thing that had to do with these old people, old race of people. And so the things that I started to uncover actually very early on was I noticed when you woke up and you looked up, it always showed you the same thing, and you saw like a spark and something explode.
Yeah.
Up in the sky.
Yeah.
Okay? And so my wild hypothesis at the beginning, as I started to uncover a lot of this, is finally I have learned about the black hole and the white hole station. And I have found all this stuff that it's like, oh, when you go into between the things, you can like go back in time, technically.
Yeah. Oh,
like
that was like the first thing that you found. Yeah, that's right. It was
one of the earliest things that I found was that you go back in time because of you're going in between these things. And I saw a thing in the sky that had that thing explode. And I didn't realize that you could land on it while it was broken, which you do eventually have to do.
That was like one of the first things that I did. That's so funny.
Yeah, that was one of the last things that I did. And so I thought, because I had been reading about going through this black hole and the time shifts and all that kind of stuff, I was like, I wonder if when I go through the black hole, if I can do it fast enough, can I get to that thing before it even explodes? The answer is no, you cannot.
Oh, interesting.
But that was like my first little hypothesis was I was like, okay, so I'm in a time loop and I'm going to have to go back in time before my time loop starts to stop whatever chain of events is happening for this like universe to be exploding. So I wasn't thinking that I had to solve quote unquote within the 22 minutes. For so long I was thinking I have to figure out how to go back in time even further because it hadn't clicked for me yet that the going back in time was happening when the supernova happened. Because it took me a long time to figure that out because my little process went like Brittle Hollow shenanigans first, and then I went like and kind of did Giants Deep, but not all the way, and then I spent most of my time between them on the Ash Twins, which were my favorite planets. But that's kind of like my little process, and then I put off whatever the Dark Bramble was until I was literally forced to and I had nothing left.
Yeah. So my original theory was that all of the Nomai or Naomi, I think it's probably Nomai, that sounds more right. All of these people were also in their own time loops in their own time. And it doesn't quite make sense, but that's kind of where my head had gone originally, is like, oh, like they were dropping dead because everybody was dying from the time loop over and over again, but like the environment was staying, and that doesn't really make sense.
No, I thought that too, but I kind of thought that too. Yeah,
because when they would go, like I'll give an example, like all of the instructions to the Sand City, which was the second thing that I did. So the second thing I did was the Sand City on the Ash Twins, and I when you find the distress beacon, it's like, follow this path, but be quick because it's going to fill up with sand. So it was like they had died and like done it multiple times and found like the optimal place to do it. And so I thought that whole like, I thought that all of those people were also in their own time loops, and then somehow that had gotten broken, and then like they had all died or something. That was my original thought there, was because they had the detailed instructions of like, don't go down this path, it's not going to take you anywhere. And like they had done it and died or something. You know what I mean?
Interesting. No, I totally see what you're saying. I don't know that I thought they were stuck in their own loops, but I thought there was some weird loop thing happening for the ancient people, because at some point I think one of the people, like our explorers, had said something along the lines of, I'm surprised the universe is so old, it's not supposed to be this old. Or like he was freaked out because he thought that the sun was about to explode. I think it was the one that was on the fire twin, or that one.
Ash twin, because he was also noticing that all of he was like, I'm looking at a lot of supernovas lately.
Yeah.
He was depressed. He was like depressed.
Yeah, he was super depressed. Yeah, and if you talk to him at the wrong time, he like spirals.
Yeah.
It was very sad. But he had said something about the universe being so old, he was surprised he was seeing so much. And I was like, oh, are we stuck in a time loop, but the universe around us is continuing to get older? I did wonder about that too. And so I had wondered if we were like so close to the end of the world because we were really reliving the same day over and over again, and we were just getting closer and closer to it. Oh, of course that obviously ended up being incorrect also, but that was what was kind of fun about the game, is that you get those bits and pieces, right? And then you're just sitting here making little hypotheses, and none of them really make sense, but eventually you get the right one.
So it was really interesting. And then I think for me, like, the very beginning of this game I really liked, and then there's a point where you kind of hit a wall, and I think this is where like I want to talk about like the roller coaster of a journey that I feel like I had with this game, which is there's things like with the sand planet as an example, right? Like the ash twins. So the ash twins are kind of cool. It's like one of them is like a big sand planet and the other one is a big rock planet, and the rock planet, like the sand drains off of the sand planet onto the rock planet and starts filling it up with sand. And so the things that you do on that planet very quickly become covered over the course of the time loop. And then theoretically what you learn later is that it drains back off. So like they trade it, right? Like they trade the sand back and forth, right? So
wait, I'm pretty sure it just works like an hourglass. Right? Like each loop, those planets are like a literal hourglass for the 22 minutes.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is if it wasn't the 22 minutes, like in the full life cycle, they go back and forth like an hourglass. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So
totally.
like the sand will drain back off theoretically if the world hadn't ended. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's very cool. I loved the mechanics of that. I thought it was so creative.
Yeah, it was really creative. And then the thing that happened is there's areas in the Sunless City is what it's called. But I just called it the Sand City, where you have to time it perfectly. So like the high energy lab has to be literally the first thing that you do. It gets filled up so quickly with sand. You have to do that that's the first thing that you have to do. And then the other piece of the Sunless Cities, there's like a whole district with like the ghost matter. And so we haven't really talked about the ghost matter much, but it's this like invisible matter, and you can see where it possibly is based on crystals.
Yeah.
And you can take photographs of it and it'll tell you where it is. And it's kind of like Northern Lights looking, but it kills you almost instantly. And so I felt like I hit a wall because like I couldn't figure out at the time, I didn't know I had to just rush there. Like, the first thing I had to do was, like, fucking book it. And then, because it's all about timing, and I kept dying, and I was getting really frustrated, and then I moved on to Brittle Hollow. But then with Brittle Hollow, as an example, I actually think that my black hole moment was a bit more magical than yours, because I will say that I was, like, reading script from it, and then I accidentally fell in the black hole, as you do. And then the first thing I did was go to the White Hole Station. And the first thing that the White Hole Station says is, "Welcome, travelers. Did you accidentally fall into the black hole? Here's how you get back." So it was this really, like, fun moment where as I was falling into the black hole, I was like, fuck, no! And really frustrated, and I pop out and I go to the station and I'm like, oh wait, this is, like, supposed to happen almost, where you find this thing in the old, like, Naomi script or whatever is like, "Welcome to the White Hole Station. This will warp you back to Brittle Hollow."
You know, that sounds so delightful. And instead, my notes are, oh my god, I keep falling into this goddamn black hole. I didn't even do anything wrong that time. Question. I just fell in. Question. Is this the intended playthrough? Because I am frustrated. That was my literal note. Yeah. And that is many notes in.
Yeah.
Because for me, it did take forever to figure out, like, where that was. I just wasn't orienting myself in space, I guess, correctly. And your whole screen warps.
It's really hard.
Close.
It's super hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't actually figure out that there was a station there until I read a note about there being a station there somewhere else on, like, a different planet. And so for me, like, that wall that you're talking about came really, really early, because the Brittle Hollow planet is also, I think, the hardest platforming that you have to do. They have those gravity crystals that take you along walls.
But some of them are broken, and you have to,
And so you have to orient yourself in 3D space and being able to, like, jump and traverse across walls. And what I realized, like, going through it is I was having, like, a completionist attitude about the planet really, like, strongly. And
well, exactly, and that's why I was also getting frustrated with the Ash Twins when I couldn't finish, and it kept my ship log was like, "There's more to explore here," and I was like, "Fuck off."
Yeah, that's how I was feeling, and so eventually I ended up just stopping in the middle of the planet on Brittle Hollow, moving over to something else so that I could feel a little bit unstuck. But I will admit that at that point I was feeling pretty, like, down, because it was hard, and it took, I know that it doesn't technically take a long time to, like, restart your day. Like, you can go directly to a planet and get there in less than 2 minutes. So I know that I'm being kind of a whiny baby when I say it, but having to restart and get back to exactly where I was to do the one platforming move that I couldn't figure out how to do was awful. And then that happened to me, like, a few different times. I worried less, like, the Ash Twin sand moving didn't bother me as much because I knew what to do and I just had to execute on it in a way that was like, okay, I've got to get my, like, timing right, and I didn't mind that. I thought it was fine. But the frustration, I think, is similar in that it's just, you have a thing, you know exactly what you need to do, but the effort you have to put in every time you make one mistake, like, it is brutal. It is not forgiving. Like, a mistake is a lot of time. And that's how I started to feel. And it led me down a sadder path, I think, for some things than I would have liked. I'm curious, after you kind of did you end up getting through that frustration and feeling good about stuff? Because
I would pivot, right? So this was like my roller coaster of an experience. Is I feel like with each planet, almost I would hit a wall and get frustrated with the last like little bits. Like, it took me forever, not forever, but actually it was like one of the last things I did, which, to get into the Black Hole Forge and unlock the rest of that, you have to, at the beginning, go do the controls, then leave that planet, go to the Ash Twin planet, and warp there. So, like, that took me, I was trying to get the ship to the ceiling.
Oh.
But you physically cannot do it, or I could not figure out how to do it. Because, like, I was like, if I could just, like, gun it enough, and then I would keep falling backwards into the black hole. And so I also hit a wall with Brittle Hollow because of the stupid black hole. And then the other thing with Brittle Hollow that I thought was really interesting that I learned is that it doesn't break apart in consistent patterns.
No, it doesn't. So you have to use your scout to sit on the floor and look at the stability of the floor. Like, that's what you have to do.
Oh.
It's wild.
Oh, I didn't catch that because I wasn't thinking about it in 4D chess like you were. But I found that observatory, and then you're like, okay, so I can't make it up the rest of this observatory, but I know that these pieces break off. You know what I mean? Like that. Do you know that one that I'm talking about where?
Yeah, where you actually have to get sucked into the black hole and back out to space to be able to solve it. Yes, that was a very cool solve. Yeah,
that one was good, and I figured out that I needed to do that. It was just that, like, I was sitting there twiddling my thumbs and I ran out of oxygen. And so then the other trick was, it was like, okay, so I need to go chill at the campfire with my friend over here until it's time. But then it wasn't a consistent time. So, like, the first time I was like, okay, so that was about, like, 14 minutes. And at the campfire, you can rest for that amount of time. And so I would rest, and then I would leave, and I was like, wait, it's gone. And I
what I ended up doing, did you jump in to go find it? Is that what you did? That's
but then I ran out of time to do all of the things, so I had to do that multiple times because it would explode by the time that I was, like, reading everything.
So that was my other thing that kept catching me a little bit, and I was starting to get kind of stressed out by the 22 minutes because I would do something like that, or something that I kept failing on a million times. The one that I think was the one that bothered me the most was at the very end, the sun station. The sun station was one of the things that I did very last.
Interesting.
Yeah, and which was a terrible idea. Sense. But I went and did the sun station. Like, I did it in sun station was my second to last thing, and then the Ash Twin Project, like, area inside of whatever was the very last thing I did before, like, finalizing, you know, like, the final loop. And so I did those back to back. That sun station does not have a good payoff when you finally get there. It is a bunch of text that just says, actually, we couldn't blow up the sun, so we're just going to have to wait until it blows up.
Okay, I'll tell you why this was a payoff for me. And this is why I had the thing at the beginning of going in with a different mindset. I thought that my objective of the game was to try to get my sun to stop exploding. So, like, I thought that was going to be the purpose of the game. Like, I thought for, like, the objective that I was supposed to do was to get the sun to stop exploding so that I could save, like, my people, right? And so I went to the sun station thinking that I would figure out how to stop it from, because, like, you see that they're trying to experiment with making the sun go supernova.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe that was the reason. But then the payoff in the sun station is that, no, it didn't work, and your sun is actually at the natural end of its life cycle.
I see. See, I had already surmised that because he was talking about the age of the universe earlier. All of the dead bodies to me implied that they had been doing this research a long, long time ago. And so the sun wouldn't be exploding just now. And so I had already kind of guessed that that's what was happening. And it was more like, is there still a way to stop it? Like, I was hoping the quantum moon, I could, like, somehow in one path get everybody on it, and then we could bebop on out. Like, that's kind of what I thought we could do, or get everyone on the ship. Yeah, like, I thought we were going to be able to, like, just teleport to a different, like, station, and my job was going to be to go, like, pick up everybody and get out. And so when I got there, I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, okay. But what had happened was, so, like, in order to get there, you know, I have to, like, float across that path of the debris near the sun. Took me probably, like, 15 or 20 times.
Oh, no, yeah.
Finally got over there. I get through 2 things because it took me so long. Like, I only
and
read
then
through
the
it,
sun
like, maybe
swallows it up.
swallows it, and then I had to do it again. It took me probably another 5 or 6 times, and then I finished reading it all, and then it wasn't any sort of payoff for me, and I honestly, at that point, I was so frustrated. Poor Chris. He was just hearing me, but yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying by, like, there were parts of this game that I thought were really unforgiving that hindered from my experience, which is why I think
Yeah.
I would have, like, told myself to have a certain mindset going into it to help with that in a way, right? Of, like,
Yeah.
be liberal with your use of the meditate to end the loop. Like, don't get frustrated,
Yeah.
like, trying to do something, just end it and, like, start it over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other thing that the Sun
Yeah.
Station does do is it points you back to the Ash Twin project.
It does. It does put me back to Ash Twin. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so it was kind of like the other payoff for me was, like, reading it and going, like, oh, okay, so I can warp to the center of the planet by standing underneath it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it pointed me
Yeah.
to the right thing to, like, find the center of the Ash Twin.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The thing that we haven't talked about yet, I guess, is the Dark Bramble planet, like, at all.
Yes. Yeah, let's talk about Dark Bramble. Yeah, we've been talking about, and this is what I mean by, I went through this roller coaster with every planet where I would unlock a certain amount and then I would have that last little bit to unlock that was just so unforgiving to unlock.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt the same way with the Dark Bramble. So the Dark Bramble I thought was design-wise a really fascinating concept because it looks so tiny when you get there, and then you go in, it's actually the biggest planet from a space perspective. Like, during the How It's Made, they're like, actually there's more to the Dark Bramble than any other, like, more physical space.
Yeah, I believe that. It's
yeah.
like, it felt infinite.
No, it did. And so for those listening, really quickly, the Dark Bramble, it's this big, like, knot of plants, like, and
thorny vines. Yeah.
And they have, like, a center that glows. And you naturally drift towards the center of the knots. So each time you approach, so the very first one, you go in and it expands into this huge thing. And all you see are, like, a bunch of fog, some, like, vines with thorns, and then you'll see lights. And those lights are either these giant anglerfish, or it is another knot that you can go into, and each time you go into a knot, it, like, expands and blah, blah, blah. And so the key piece of navigating the Dark Bramble is having the stethoscope.
Right.
And the stethoscope will point you to either a distress beacon, which is, at this point, you have probably picked up distress beacons on other planets, but it was like the different Naomi colonies that had originally come to this solar system. They had kind of crash landed here, and there was 3 different escape pods. One of them went to the Ash Twins, so that's where they built the Sunless City. One of them was on Brittle Hollow, and that's where they built the Hanging City. And then the last one was in the Dark Bramble, which you will... There ain't no city in the Dark Bramble to be found. It is a sad scene.
It's a sad skeleton evil monster creature planet.
There's no... Yeah. And so you go into the Dark Bramble and you're either following the Harmonica, which is the character that everyone has presumed has died, because he never came back and he never contacted anyone because he can't. But you're following one of those signals, and as you enter, you have to be really quiet, which you put together on the Ash Twin that, like, they're blind. Yeah. And so to get past the anglerfish, you just have to be quiet. And when I say quiet, you cannot use your ship.
No, you have, like, 1 bar, like, of the 4 or 5 that you have. It's literally, like, 1 bar of speed, and that's all you get.
Only do that. Like, it's so easy to accidentally do more than that. So anyways, Dark Bramble was very hard for me to navigate. It was, like, my nightmare. Like, of navigation.
I agree with you. Even when I figured out what was going on with the anglerfish, it was still so tedious to like get through and get me in the right place. And I will admit, it was really scary. Like
it was
with
scary.
all the giant fish
and the
just
sound
like the
design
fog,
is
like,
scary.
yes. Yeah, like it was just a scary, stressful one. I actually tried to go in it earlier just to see what it looked like, and then immediately got eaten by a fish. It was horrifying.
Yes.
And then waited until the very end to be like, okay, do I have to do this? And I'm like, I do have to do it. It's so like, it was so crucial to the story to go into it.
Well, that was the first thing that I did too, is I literally got ate. Because you don't know when you're just like in the ship and you're cruising her along, and then all of a sudden you just wonk, get eaten by this giant anglerfish.
I will say that this planet had probably my favorite puzzle on it, or at least one of my favorite like aha moments. Yeah, because like, so the way that it works, right, is that you had the bramble that landed on your home planet, and so you can actually hear the harmonica through that other bramble. Yeah, and so then you have to shoot your little beacon in and then go all the way to the other planet to go then track down where your beacon's at. And I was just like, that's so creative. It was such like a fun aha moment for me. And I didn't have a lot of aha moments in this. We'll talk about that in a bit. But the aha moment for that one, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like so fun. And I love the whole like idea of that planet, that it's like you have to go in the exact right patterns in the right way, and oh, the lights look identical, and I don't know, like it was a horrifying place. I wanted to get out of it as soon as absolutely fucking possible, but I thought it was very, very cool. It
was really, really well done. I think the thing for me that got super frustrating is that it took a long time to do all the steps to get to the vessel.
Yes.
So
yes, it did.
So how they set it up is you're following the distress beacon, and this adds to the stress because you have to keep your stethoscope out at all times to get to the right spot. So you're listening to this really distressing beacon, and it's like adding to your anxiety. And then you finally come upon this really sad scene of like all of the Naomi people dead, floating around this like really knotty bramble, but they can't get through it. Like and you can't get through it either. Like you can't physically fit through it, but your scout can. And then you read some text that they were saying their vessel like beacon is in this bramble, and so you fire your scout, and then you follow the scout, and the next hole that you go through to follow your scout, there's 3 anglerfish waiting to meet you,
right?
And it took me forever. I was overthinking it so much, and I was like, literally, how do you get past these things? Because I thought I was gonna run into them if I like didn't do anything.
Me too. Yeah,
and so it took me forever to realize you literally just touch nothing. You just float on past them. And the first time I did that, it was actually super cool because you're like flying right next to their mouths.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's intense.
But all you have to do is literally nothing. You don't touch anything. You just float. Like, that's how you get past that area.
Yes, which is not my forte. My forte is to do way too much.
Yeah. So that was like the aha moment for me with that, was like, oh, you literally just do nothing. And that took me a few different tries, but then it was the time. And so the first, maybe we'll talk about, should we switch and talk about the ending?
We can talk about the ending, because I think some of my feedback can be buttoned up within the ending. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So essentially what happens is you put together that there was all these different projects that they were doing. They had the Ash Twin project, which was like going back in time 22 minutes. And the only way to get enough energy to make it work was a sun supernova. And so obviously that didn't happen in their lifetime because the sun station didn't work out. But, they had done all of this work to like get it to work.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you crash, someone else had been following. Oh, we didn't talk about the quantum moon.
Oh, right. We haven't talked about the quantum moon.
So I actually did the Quantum Moon kind of early.
I would say I did mine more early. I did that earlier than most of the Ash Twin stuff.
Yeah, I did that before I did Dark Bramble and Brittle Hollow, actually.
Yes. Oh, before Brittle Hollow? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't do it that early. Yeah.
So I can't remember where you find it, but it was like observing the thing is the thing that makes it like a picture of the thing and observing the That's why I found it early.
So that's why you found it so early, because you went into the big, like, honestly, that area was very, very cool. But that's 100%, yeah, that's what you needed to do it. Yeah. Sense.
So I had found that kind of early, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go explore this Quantum Moon. And then the thing that was really interesting about the Quantum Moon is to get to the thing, you have to keep leaving and looking around and then going back in, and then leaving, looking around and going back in. Because the thing about quantum objects in this game is that when you look at them, they stay in place, but the second you look away, they move.
Yep.
And they go somewhere else. And so there has been a moon that was jumping and orbiting each planet, but it would depend on, like, if you'd seen it and whatever. And so I figured out pretty quickly that you just needed to take a picture of it, because you can't land on it if you don't take a picture of it. If you try to land on it, you go right through it. like a poof of dust.
Which I did try to do.
Yes.
I did
same.
Try to do.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, so maybe I'll send my scout onto the moon. That didn't work because it was just static. You have to take a photo you have to launch your scout and take a photo before it lands, and then you can land on the moon. But there is where you meet an alive Naomi for the first time, I thought that was actually like really cool. And then you learn that another piece of research that they had been doing, and the whole reason they were in your solar system is because the eye of the universe was in your solar system and they were looking for it. And the eye of the universe was older than the universe itself. And so they were trying to pursue this knowledge. And there's like this other piece of the story that was coming together that way. So those were the two pieces of like the sending, like the 22-minute time jump, and then the eye of the universe. Do you want to talk a little bit more about it, or should I just keep going?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Did I miss any like big beats leading up to the ending there? Those were the two things to me that like when you combine them, you're like, okay, this is what I should do next.
No, I think that that's right. I think the thing that I would add on to it is within the 22-minute time loop, the way that it kicked off was through that station running around Giant's Deep. And so the thing that you see explode in the sky is actually that thing like kicking off, like they are starting the process because it found the eye of the universe. So we know, right, that both of those things connect because that little machine thing has found the eye of the universe, and now you theoretically know where it could be.
Yeah.
If you find the right things.
Yeah. And the coordinates are in the center of Giant's Deep. So it's funny because the only thing I didn't find on Giant's Deep was the the information that tells you how to get under the current. And then 2, I did not find the Jellyfish Island. I had actually found the jellyfish information before I had found that. So I knew how to get through the jellyfish. And then I just happened to get into the right cyclone that like pushed me underneath.
Oh,
I didn't
that's funny.
actually find that information. And then so I got the coordinates without having like all of the pieces of the puzzle, which was interesting. Yeah. This is such a weird like story to talk about linearly because you just don't find it. Yeah.
Mushed together. Yeah. I would say like, so for me going through this process, I did enjoy the nonlinearity. I don't think it actually hurt too much for the story itself because they put similar pieces of the story in different places, and I don't actually mind other than the Sun Station fiasco, I think the order that I found information was totally fine. Like, I think it worked really well. I will say that with the order that I found it in, like using that tornado under the water example, I had no idea anything about the jellyfish, and I ignored them actively for a really long time because I never thought that, like, I was like, why are they there? Are they just there for another thing to kill me? Like, that typical. Yeah. Like, typical. And so I thought I was supposed to use that tornado to be able to get into the giant tornado that housed the, like, how to get to the quantum moon thing. And so I thought that I had already, like, solved why you needed to go under the current. And so it was kind of fun that it came back later where I was like, oh, I actually need that to go get this piece in this jellyfish. And I loved the jellyfish puzzle. I thought that was really fun. Yeah. So, like, I don't think it hurt the direction I went to, but I totally agree with you. Like, talking about the story in this way,
it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. So essentially, the last thing that you do is, and again, this is why I wish I would have known, like, you do whatever you want. You don't have to do anything. Where I was like, there's an objective I'm supposed to do, and I think it really messed up my mindset. The thing that I did is I found the Ash Twin Project, and I found the warped core, but I didn't really put the pieces together in my head yet, and so I just took it. And I was just hanging out with it, and I just, like,
you killed yourself,
and I died, and I got credits, and it just said you died because it's the thing powering the time loop. And I was like, okay, so there's something here, but I feel like stupid because I'm not putting together what I'm supposed to do with this thing. And then someone had, like, I looked up a Reddit hint, and it was like, hey, go, like, read all of your things and specifically read about the vessel. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went back to my ship log and I read, and I was like, oh, okay. So, like, there's coordinates here for the eye of the universe, and the vessel can reach the eye of the universe. I just need to, like, get it powered by the warped core, because when you find the vessel in Dark Bramble, the warped core is broken.
Yeah.
And so there's a working warped core in the Ash Twin Project, and so that's when I put it together. But I did need a hint, because I do feel, like, a little bit dumb about it, but I was like, okay, what do I do with this?
So the hinting is something I'd love to talk about, because I think that the hinting, I ruined my own game a little bit. I think, so I started getting pretty frustrated in the game pretty early, like I said, and after probably 6 or 7 different puzzles where I felt like I knew exactly what to do, but had to do it so many times, I started getting really frustrated every time, like, I would do the puzzle how I would think, and then like, fail at the other end, like, after I had done so much, and then have to redo it all over again. And so I started getting kind of, like, tense about it. And so what I was starting to do, probably, like, halfway through, is I was like, I know that I need to do this, 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 and this. I'm going to look up a hint to make sure I'm on the right track before I go and attempt to execute this 30 times, only for this to not be the right thing that I'm supposed to do. And I did that probably, like, 4 or 5 times near the end with, like, bigger pieces where I'm like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm failed, like, 3 times now doing it. I'm going to look up and make sure I'm doing the right thing before I go on. And as a result, I feel like I had less aha, like, fun moments for myself because I was so stressed out about the unforgiving nature of the game that, like, my aha moments don't click as much because I had confirmed that I was doing the right thing for a few of these things before I went on, because I just couldn't, like, deal with it anymore. Yeah. And so the ending, I did almost immediately know that needed to go in the other place, if only because that was the only other place we've seen a broken warp core. Yeah. I don't think I actually connected the dots about the coordinates just yet. I was like, I just know that needs to go in there. And so I did that after many attempts, finally got it there, but then had no idea what to do next because I didn't, like, connect the dots of the, the coordinates. Finally connected those dots, and I'm like, okay, great. I think I need to do this.
Here's the other piece is, like, when you're on the quantum moon, I think because I found it kind of early, the Nomai on the quantum moon talked about, he was like, I wonder what would happen if you consciously observed like something. It was like something about, it was like, yeah, this is what I need to do, but it wasn't super clear. Like, he wasn't recommending it. He was like posing it as like a scientific question. And so that's what also took me forever to put it together, because I was like I kind of had like not written it off, but like I just, it didn't stick out to me when he said that.
Yeah, no, it didn't either for me. And it did eventually like make sense. I was like, oh, and I got there. It's just that it wasn't, I didn't like spend a lot of time trying to validate whether or not, like, I thought, okay, I think this is now, I need to put the coordinates in here. I am going to confirm that that's what I need to do. Okay, yeah, it is. I'm going to go do that. And I did that for a couple of the things in the final piece. And I did that for a couple of other things, like getting into the sun station, and there was another one I can't remember. But there are a few ones where I was like, I had started to validate before. And so that would be my largest qualm with this game is, and I think the finale is where it hits home for me the hardest, is because it, for me, was a cool end. And like the only hint that I got for it was like confirmation hints. I didn't like look up a walkthrough of how. So it was like, it was still interesting, but it, I was so stressed about doing it wrong and having enough time to do it once I got there, because you had so many steps you needed to take, and then you had to slowly move through the bramble.
Yeah, the end bramble was hard.
It's just a lot of anxiety. I mean, how long did it take you to go through it? You were texting me all yesterday that you were at the end.
Well, so that's what I'm saying is like I had not put the pieces together of like why you would do it, kind of like I had everything almost, but I just didn't have the, like, I wasn't putting them all together, which does make me feel like kind of dumb, which is why I was so stuck on like, is there an objective? And there kind of is. Like, I wish that my Quantum Moon conversation had been more guiding me that way. Like, instead of like, I wonder what would happen if a conscious observer witnessed the eye or whatever, right? Like, instead of it being like that, like, hey, like, maybe you should go check that out. Like, a little bit more of a shove in that direction, I think would have been helpful for me. Because at the end with the Dark Bramble, I actually only died with the warp core once. So it wasn't super frustrating. It was just the once. And it was also because I was like kind of chilling. I was like, I don't know what to do with this thing. I'm like hanging out. The thing was, I was trying to get all of the, before I finished the game, I was trying to complete my like stupid completionist brain. I was trying to finish out the like, you have more to explore here. Yeah. Which I ended up giving up on because it was really mostly like the ghost matter stuff. But it did lead me to the interloper, which, did you go to the interloper inside?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I liked the interloper inside.
Yeah, so I will say that I'm glad that it led me to that, because I did finish like the inside of the interloper story, which explains how the Naomi people kind of got wiped out, which was really sad. And that's why everybody looks like they dropped dead, because they literally all just dropped dead because of the ghost matter. Yeah. Although, why didn't the people die? Like, why didn't your species, like the character player's species, die?
My assumption is that we came to this system just significantly after.
No, because remember, they found the organisms with 4 eyes in the water of Timberhearth, and that's why they moved the mining. So if you remember,
I guess I don't know then.
Did you explore that, like the center of Timberhearth, like with the water?
What do you? Maybe not. Like, I went to their like main pool. I went to like the big pool with the tall trees to find the rock that moves around and like the sign that moves around.
You can go in.
And then I did. Oh no, I didn't know. You can go. Where do you go in at?
If you go in the water channels underneath the surface, you find this like old like Naomi script that talks about how they were originally building a mining site somewhere to get the energy, and then they moved it because the original site, they found these 4-eyed creatures, and they were like, maybe someday they'll develop or whatever.
I mean, maybe we were so early that the little tadpoles in the water just didn't get affected.
Affected. Yeah, that must be it.
Ah, I know. I missed that. I totally missed that.
Yeah.
I wonder what else did I miss? Who knows?
Yeah. No. It was just like a little tidbit that I thought was really cool, because that was when I had fun. There was a loop where I was like super frustrated with the other planets, and I was like, I'm gonna explore my planet more. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
And anyways, so I ended up stopping my quest to complete the clues. And finish the game.
Mean, that was probably the correct thing to do, because in my log right now, I don't have any like open questions, and I still apparently missed stuff. So even if you thought that you completed
because you might be missing whole tiles, right? Like,
I might be missing whole tiles.
If you've never found the
that's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to be upset about it. Do we want to talk about like the actual ending?
Let's talk about the very end, because this is what brought it home for me in a really good way. Like, I thought the very end was really beautiful and magical. Do you want to write about it or talk about it?
Yeah, so like we were talking about, you put the warp core inside the vessel, you put in the coordinates to the eye, you end up getting there, and you end up in like this weird quantum realm thing, shenanigans
super cool.
Occurring. It is a really trippy, like, fun ride through it. I'm still not entirely sure, like, canonically what is happening in this moment, but you go to, like, you know, this trippy quantum, like, reality thing. And then you end up kind of, quote unquote, on a planet that is similar to yours. And what you start to do, of course, everything's changing all the time because you're like quantum, right? So it's like a tree's there, it's not there anymore. You hear a sound, the sound's not there anymore. Like all this stuff is happening, but you end up starting to find like your little explorer people, and so you're like
a campfire. Like a campfire appears, and you light the campfire, and a rocking chair appears, and then you turn and you look back, and it's your friend that
your
was
buddy.
on.
Yeah, it was so cute. And there was like stars, though. The way that they entered you in on the little like planet area is there were like stars mixed in all throughout the trees. It was super beautiful.
And they all kept going supernova.
Yeah, like it was very, very fun. It was a very beautiful. Little like walk. And then eventually you start to like collect your friends by using your little stethoscope and
to find their instruments.
Yeah, finding their instruments. So you do all these cute little things to get all your buddies around the fire with you, and then you can like talk to them a couple of times like through the rounds, and they're all really like, you know, waxing on about the end of the universe and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually you just get asked the question like, are you ready to be done? Like, is it time for it to end? And it was like, I don't know. That was like such a wild question. I totally get why the person gave the feedback on like the, oh God, I have depression and then this gave me an existential crisis, because that is a hard question, you know? Like, are you ready to be done? And like, that's it.
Well, and so the thing that I thought was really, actually the ending made me cry, and I'm almost like crying just talking about it, but like at the end, you have each of them start playing their instruments one at a time. And so it really like connects everything back, and you're around a campfire, and it's cozy, and it's the music, and they're like, are you ready? And they start playing, and it like all comes together, like all of the instruments come together, and this music is playing, and then there's like one more like orb that you have to jump through. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about what happens when you jump through the orb?
No, keep going.
Okay, so then it's really beautiful, and you're like, okay, this is the last thing I need to do. Like, you kind of know, right? And you jump through the orb, and then everything expands out again, and then it like zoop, and then it goes 14.3 billion years later, and then it's like a new solar system and like a new species lighting a campfire. Oh, I'm crying. That's what I'm saying. It like made me cry because it was just so beautiful.
Oh, Maddie, you are crying.
I'm sorry. Like, it was just a really like Like, there doesn't have to be a point, and it's just the cycle of life. And I don't know. It just really hit me.
You're gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And just with, like, the music, it was just, like, I don't know. It just really spoke to me because I can see how it can trigger existential crises, but it actually kind of did the opposite for me.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like, even at the end of the universe, it's a new beginning. So it's not the end. It isn't the end. And I just like how beautiful of a message is that. You know what I mean?
It's so inspirational, Maddie.
It is. It just made me cry. Now I'm crying again.
I like that take. I like that it made you feel those feelings, although I'm sorry that you're crying. I made you cry on podcast.
Anyways.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I feel like the ending was really, really well done, and what they like, I think they wrapped it up really well. I did not cry, but I was I would use the word like enchanted, and I think that the music played a huge role in making it feel that way, like a huge role, because you get pieces of it the whole time, and it kind of takes you back to how we were feeling at the beginning, right? When you're like, I want to take it slow, and I'm just going to be here for a little bit. And you are. Like, at the end, you just are, you know? Yeah. It was nice. It was a nice way to end it, even though technically the ending isn't, you didn't save anything at all.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. So do we want to wrap it up, Maddie? Do we want to give our final thoughts?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. So for me, this was probably one of the most mixed games that I've had for myself in a while, because I saw so many good things about it that I thought were really magical. I really appreciated like the puzzle design and the design of the planets. I loved the exploration discovery stuff. That was right up my alley, and I really liked it. The mixed feelings I got were primarily around the mechanics that kept getting me frustrated.
Yeah.
And the reason that I feel very mixed about it is because normally in games, I feel like I can be like, this frustrated me, I would have done this differently, or I would have reconsidered X or Y. But in this game, I don't know that I can actually say anything. I don't think I can point to a thing and be like, I would have done it differently or reconsider differently.
Yeah, like how do you make the challenges better? Because I think some of it is just, to your point, like skill issue. And it's not like skill issue, because we're not bad at playing video games, but I think it was just like some of the platforming and like way you have to think about things in like a 3D space was different than you're used to thinking.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day, like I'll take one of my most frustrating experiences right at the beginning with that black hole and shooting through. How in the world would they have told the story they wanted to tell without that mechanic, without the moving pieces, without all the puzzles falling, without the White Hole Station, without the time travel 20 minutes, you know, like literally the black hole had to exist. And if the black hole exists, you can't have the black hole just be this nondescript thing. It's a black hole, you know? And so that's why I feel so mixed about it, is because I can't actually look at the game and point to different pieces and be like, I would have changed this or done this differently, because I think doing any of those changes would have changed what the game was. Similarly to the feedback that people gave around the time loop, right? Like people being like, it's really repetitive and boring, and yet at the same time frustrating and stressful. I felt all of those feelings also. I'm not the kind of person who likes to redo stuff I've already done. It makes me really mad. I cannot go through games that have checkpoints like that. I don't do. It's not fun for me. And so, like, I felt all of those things, but at the same time, as I think them, I cannot think of a proposal for a thing that I would have done differently, you know? Like, I just cannot think of it. I'm like, totally. No, I think they did the thing that you would have had to do in order to make this work. And so, that's, like, at the end of the day, my takeaway for this game is that I thought that so much of it was very beautiful. I thought it was a very unique experience for me. It was very mixed feeling, because I feel like they did all the right things that might just not have been for me, or maybe I'm not, you know, good enough at 3D space for it to, like, I just hit that frustration cap a little too low. And I think if I would have hit it a little bit later or a little bit further, I would have felt a lot more positive about the whole thing. But for me, I just hit it too fast. And it made the whole experience feel a little worse. And so I'd probably give this one like 3 out of 5, let's say harmonicas, like I would give it probably a 3 out of 5 for me. Just because I feel so mixed about it. That and like the rocket ship controls, I still can't fly that stupid darn rocket ship, and that's fine. I got auto float into the sun like twice. It's fine. But I think that for many people, I could see this game being a 5 out of 5, and I think I keep recommending it to Chris. I'm like, Chris, you're not going to have this skill issue problem, and you're going to love this game. Like, I know you're going to love it. And so that 3 out of 5 isn't necessarily like I'm glad I played it. I just think that maybe the compounding issues were things that I particularly do not like, and that contributed overall to my feeling of madness about it. Like, I don't think I would have finished the game without the podcast because I was so frustrated in some points. So
okay,
that's where I am. Recommendation wise, yeah, I would say go ahead and probably play it. Like, there's a very high chance that it's going to be really magical for you, so do it. I would say I would recommend it with the mindset that Maddie's been mentioning on podcast. I would not recommend it if you are terrible at 3D space, or if you need a mission. Like, if you need a goal, then you're not going to have fun with this game. Like, if you are the kind of person who has to have an exact thing to do, you can kind of try and do that with the rumor stuff. But at that point, like, it's really not like a goal-oriented game. So those would be the stipulations that I would give there. And it is, like a somber game, right? So,
yeah, in a way.
Yeah, in a way. But
I would say bittersweet.
Very inspiring. Bittersweet is the correct word.
Feels like the right one, which is what the composer used. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Maddie, how about you?
So I actually, like, I'm going to kind of disagree with some of your points. Not that I think you're overall correct, but I think there's things they could have done to make it a bit more forgiving. So as an example, like, there's like the part of Brittle Hollow where like some of the gravity crystals had broken off. And so then you had to like jump. Like, did the platforming like need to be that hard? I don't think it did. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair. You're
like,
right. I think you're right.
So there's like a few small tweaks that I think I personally, but again, this is like maybe what they could have done is like platforming difficulty accessibility settings or something, where for some people those crystals were broken because they had places where they were, but then they were gone. And so maybe for some people you could check a box and those would be filled in, and then like you check a box and there's less anglerfish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like easy mode, like please give me story mode version, like no stress.
And it's more like the difficulty was more with the platforming, because I feel like you could have had the same experience and I would have, or example, Cactus on the Ash Twins, like multiple times I was like trying to get past these cactus and I would die, and that was really frustrating. And it's like maybe on easy mode all of the gravity crystals are in place, there's less anglerfish and there's like less cactus. So
I see that. I can see that.
There's small things like that where I was like, this is like just frustrating for me and not fun, that made me have this like really roller coaster experience with like super high highs and then like the low lows of like the getting frustrated with the last bits. I still, like, because of the ending, like, it was a 5 out of 5 for me, like totally just like really connected with like the message at the end of the game, and like kind of wish I could play it again with a different mindset almost, and like knowing what I know about navigation, but like not about the story almost in a way. So I think I'll have a really good time playing this again in like 5 years.
They have DLC.
But like I think if I play this again in like 5 years after I've forgotten some of the finer details, like I think it'll be a really fun experience, or nice experience for me, because I don't know if I would say that this game was quote unquote fun. And that's not a bad thing, right? Games, like there's different things, but like, yeah, it was still a 5 out of 5 for me. I ended up really loving how it all came together. So
I was wondering what you would end up at, because your text messages before yesterday, I feel like I could feel the sense of growing frustration.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure, but the ending was very good. Just for me, it wasn't good enough for me to,
Yeah.
But wait, you gave 5 out of 5 whats?
Banjos.
Okay, I like that.
I like your musical direction there.
I didn't want to go planets. Planets were too boring.
Yeah. Anyways, it was good. It was really good. And we're at 2 hours, so I don't think we have time for an off topic.
Oh my god. How about off topic next time? Because the games we're talking about are short. We can talk through the Fallout TV show.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do it next time.
Cool.
Okay. Ready to end?
I am ready at 1 hour and 50 whatever minutes. Excellent.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and rate it. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Baddy Breakdowns, and visit our website, baddybreakdowns.com, made by Bridget. The podcast art was done by the wonderful Tanisha Vernikar, and the podcast was edited by me, Maddie, and I also made our theme song. Join us next time to hear us two baddies break down Balatro and Open Road. Open Road is on Game Pass. Balatro is not on Game Pass, but it's on all of the platforms, and it's not very expensive. It's like $10. So
yeah, and it's been really fun so far. So
yeah. Okay, you're going to notice on Steam that I have theoretically played that game for 29 hours. That's not true. It is. So I have been playing it, and it puts me to sleep, and I've fallen asleep multiple nights with it open on my laptop, like next to me. And
amazing.
So it has been like running all night, like literally all night once. Like I woke up because I put it on my nightstand and I'll lay on my side and I'll play it.
Oh, you're going to get so many recommendations for that games like that now.
Well, it's just really funny because I was like, Bridget's going to get mad because she's going to see how much time I've put into this because I didn't finish Outer Wilds until yesterday. And you're going to see that I spent 29 hours in Balatro already. And I promise I didn't.
Whatever excuse you have.
It's
That's
me
okay.
falling
You're the one who has
asleep.
to edit this today, so it's fine.
Yeah. I did it to myself.
2 hours. Good luck. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.